This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple shares get really high. Fortune favors the funder, and the HomePod mystery deepens. It is Thursday, the 8th of July, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. Well, it's been a few months since we've heard this. Apple hit a new closing high on Wednesday. Mac Daily News says shares of the Cupertino company were up $2.55 midweek, ending the day at $144.57. A piece from Apple 3.0 says the company's previous closing high came on the 26th of January of this year, when it closed at $143.16. While Wednesday's was Apple's highest close, it is not the highest shares have ever been. The company hit an intraday high of $145.09 back on the 25th of January. Yesterday's close left Apple with a market cap of $2.4 trillion. Facebook's doing that thing again, paying for a study to show how unfairly Facebook is treated. You may remember the social network doing this before. Back in May, a pair of researchers, one from the University of Florida Levin College of Law and another from the Harvard Business School, found that Apple's privacy push around app tracking transparency used stark, biased, and misleading terms which diminish consumers' abilities to make meaningful and informed choices about data use. That research was funded by Facebook, which fought tooth and nail to keep ATT from becoming a thing. Now the company has funded different research, attacking another practice employed by both iOS and Android, the pre-installation of apps. Did I say attacking? Perhaps I should have said highlighting. The study was run by ComScore, though commissioned by Facebook. One of Apple's loudest critics, as a piece from The Verge puts it. To make the report last December, says The Verge, ComScore used data it regularly gathers from apps and websites, alongside a survey of roughly 4,000 people, asking about the default apps they use during the month of November. The results showed that 75% of the top 20 apps on iOS in the US were made by Apple, while Google made 60% of the top apps on Android. The top 4 apps on both platforms were made by their respective parent company. Now, I will say there is a lot of interesting stuff in the numbers. Did you know that iPhone users are incredibly boring? Here were the top 5 iOS apps according to the ComScore study. Apple Phone was first for iOS, Apple Weather second, Apple Photos third, Apple Camera fourth, and Apple Clock fifth. Meanwhile, the top 5 on Android were Google Play, Google Search, YouTube, Gmail, and Facebook. Hey look, Facebook makes the top 5. In fact, Facebook does better than anyone, Apple and Google not included. Facebook is the only outside developer with more than one app on the iOS list, according to The Verge, though that's only kind of true. Facebook has 2 apps on the iOS list, Facebook and Instagram, as does Google, YouTube, and Gmail. No, Google is not outside of iOS and Android, but you'd have to count Google as an outsider where iOS is concerned. Meanwhile, the piece says Facebook is the only developer with 3 apps on the list for Android, Google very much not included. Apple Maps and Apple Music failed to make the iOS top 20 because apparently iOS users don't go anywhere or listen to music or do much of anything, really. But they take lots of pictures of it and call friends and tell them about it. Why this study now? The Verge says the timing, as Facebook likely intended, is apt. Apple and Google are increasingly under scrutiny for how they favor their own services over competitors like Spotify. U.S. lawmakers are currently reviewing a new set of bills designed to curb the power of big tech, including legislation that could potentially bar Apple and Google from giving their services the upper hand against rivals. For its part, Apple says the Facebook-funded ComScore study is bunk. An Apple spokesperson told The Verge, the Facebook Finance survey from December 2020 was narrowly tailored to give the false impression that there's little competition on the App Store. In truth, third-party apps compete with Apple's apps across every category and enjoy large-scale success. App tracking transparency seems to have driven ad dollars Android's way. Apple Insider highlights a piece from the Wall Street Journal that has spending on iOS ads taking a pretty big hit. The piece has numbers from ad analytics firm Tengen that indicate spending on iOS ad platforms dropped by approximately a third between the 1st of June and the 1st of July. Meanwhile, advertising on Android platforms increased by approximately 10% at the same time. The ad firm Tentuity found something similar. When its advertisers could no longer buy targeted ads for iOS, they threw money at the robots. The change sparked a rise in demand for targeted advertising on Android devices, according to Apple Insider, moving from 46% year-on-year growth in May to 64% in June. As Android ads increased in perceived value, their prices went up as well. Android ad prices are now roughly 30% higher than ads aimed at iOS users, according to a Tentuity executive. The HomePod issues about which I told you yesterday, they're apparently not all tied to HomePod Software 15. Wednesday's report had people running the unreleased beta complaining of overheating, shutdowns, and damage to the smart speaker's logic board in some cases. Now a piece from 9to5Mac says some original HomePod owners are also now saying that the stable HomePod Software 14.6 version is bricking their products. So far, the reason is unclear, though brick devices do seem to have one thing in common. According to the report, all these users complaining were using the HomePod with an Apple TV on tvOS 14.6. Whether it's a bug when pairing both products or whether the smart speaker is just poorly working is unclear. 9to5Mac says Apple has yet to respond to the issue. Indications are that HomePods under Apple Care can be replaced at no charge, provided users haven't loaded a beta they weren't supposed to load. Folks with no Apple Care can get them replaced for $280, according to the piece. While Apple TV may be killing HomePod, it's getting crushed in the market for digital streaming hardware. That's the word from Parks Associates by way of Cult of Mac. It's sort of a two-horse race right now, and those two horses are neck and neck. Amazon and Roku are tied, it seems, each with around 36% of the market. Apple's digital living room device is a pretty distant third with a 12.5% share. Google's Chromecast is fourth with roughly 8%, and an unceremonious other category makes up the last 6% or so. Reese Witherspoon may be selling Hello Sunshine, and Apple appears to be kicking the tires. Deadline says Witherspoon, star of Legally Blonde, Walk the Line, and the Apple TV Plus series The Morning Show, is exploring a sale of her production company, Hello Sunshine. And why not? Deadline puts the value at around $1 billion. The piece chalks that up to the current period of rapid consolidation in media. Amazon's agreed to buy MGM for close to $8.5 billion. AT&T and Discovery are turning Warner Media's premium entertainment, its sports, and its news assets, and Discovery's leading nonfiction and international entertainment and sports business into a single company. As for Apple and Hello Sunshine, well, while the going has been slower than many would like, Apple seems to be doing fine without buying that production company. Still, Deadline says Apple is said to be one of the parties interested in Hello Sunshine. It's not clear that any deal will go down, but the outreach shows that big media and tech companies are casting a wider and wider net. And finally today, if there is just not enough plastic in your life, it is Apple's streaming video service to the rescue. 9to5Mac says the first Apple TV Plus content to get a physical disc release has arrived, and it is defending Jacob. Why would the environmentally focused Apple, the company that wants people to pay for its streaming video service, eventually, why would that company put out DVD and Blu-ray sets of any of its offerings? Yeah, it wasn't Apple. The discs come not from the tech company, but from Paramount. While Apple has probably locked up streaming exclusivity, though we don't even know that for sure, 9to5Mac says evidently Paramount has retained the physical media rights for Defending Jacob in order for it to be made available on disc. It even includes previously unseen bonus content and special features. The disc does not appear to feature any Apple branding at all. At least one more to come, probably several. The report says travel series Long Way Up is also promoting a disc release coming later this year. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.